Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley violated, reveals her home was vandalized. Savannah Chrisley is feeling violated after she revealed her home was vandalized. Fans are shocked that she is going through this right now. However, she is not afraid to let people know what others are doing. The Chrisley family is hopeful following the election. Keep reading to find out more about this. Chrisley family is hopeful. The Chrisley family is hopeful after the election. They think since Donald Trump was elected as the new president, that Todd and Julie will be able to get out sooner. Savannah Chrisley violated as home was vandalized. Savannah Chrisley is feeling violated as her home was vandalized. This happened after the election took place. Savannah was vocal about who she supported in the race. However, this has led to some unhappy people. It seems that people are not fond of her supporting Trump. However, she is not going to let this stop her from voicing her opinion. Savannah is going to keep trying to get her parents out of prison. However, fans think this is a waste of her time though due to the crimes they committed. What do you think about their newfound hope? Savannah Chrisley paced around her living room, her face taut with frustration and worry. She'd spent months creating her safe haven, a place where she could unwind, work, and simply be herself away from the cameras, the drama, and the unrelenting curiosity of the world. Now, her sanctuary was shattered, and she felt both angered and vulnerable. It had started with an unsettling feeling she couldn't quite shake. Savannah had returned home late the previous night, and as she pulled into her driveway, something seemed off. The shadows in her yard appeared longer, darker, almost as if something was out of place. Shaking it off as late-night paranoia, she'd brushed it aside, locked her doors tightly, and gone to bed. But in the light of the morning, the reality was undeniable. Her property was in shambles. The neatly arranged flower pots on her porch were overturned, their contents spilling across her welcome mat. Her front windows, once clean and inviting, were smeared with dark, oily handprints, leaving ghostly impressions on the glass. Her mailbox, something she'd never given a second thought to, had been wrenched open, its metal door hanging limply. Inside she found shredded letters and scattered papers, tossed about as if someone had been rifling through her personal information. As she walked through her front yard, Savannah felt a pang of disbelief that her peaceful home had been defiled. She reached for her phone, scrolling through her contacts, and paused, hesitating over the name Dad. Todd had always been her rock, her guide through every high and low. But now, with everything he was facing, could she really lean on him for something like this? She brushed away a tear before it could fall. Her family had always been there for each other, but this felt different. This was her home, her space. Taking a deep breath, she called the police, filing a report in hopes they could offer some answers. In the hours that followed, officers came and went, taking statements and dusting for fingerprints. But as they left, Savannah felt only a hollow emptiness. No amount of reassurance seemed to erase the feeling of violation. Determined to reclaim her space, Savannah dove into cleaning up the mess. She swept her porch, scrubbed the windows, and set the flower pots back in place. But each smudge she wiped away only made her angrier. Why would someone do this? What kind of person took pleasure in vandalizing someone else's home? Finally, as she wiped the last of the handprints from her windows, her mind buzzed with memories of the last year. She thought about her family's ups and downs, the rumors, the judgments from strangers who only knew pieces of their story. Being in the public eye meant sharing a part of yourself with the world, but this was something different. This was personal. A line had been crossed. As the afternoon light softened, she decided it was time to share what had happened. Taking out her phone, she hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen. She wanted to be honest with her followers, the people who had watched her grow up and stood by her through thick and thin. But part of her worried about the reaction. Would they sympathize? Or would it only feed the gossip mill? After a moment, she took a deep breath, opened Instagram, and hit record. "Hey everyone," she began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "I wasn't sure if I should share this, but I think it's important. Last night I came home and found that my house had been vandalized. I don't know who did it or why, but it's really shaken me. I've always tried to be strong, but it's different when it's your own home, your own personal space." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "I know I'm in the public eye and I'm grateful for all the support I get. But sometimes I think people forget that I'm just a person too. My home is my sanctuary, and now that's been violated. I just want people to remember that I'm human, that we're all human. I'm not looking for pity, but I think this is a reminder that we all deserve respect, no matter who we are." As she posted the video, she felt a weight lift. She had put her story out there, hoping it might resonate with someone who needed to hear it. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Comments flooded in from fans and friends alike, offering words of comfort, anger, and understanding. Strangers shared their own stories of feeling violated, while friends offered their support. One comment caught her eye, though. "Maybe this is a sign to protect yourself better. Cameras, alarms, people will do anything these days." The next day, Savannah took action, installing security cameras around her home. As she watched the technicians work, she felt a strange sense of relief mixed with sadness. The cameras were a reminder that her life would never quite be normal, but they also represented a layer of protection, a small way to regain control over her world. As days passed, she fell back into her routine, though she couldn't help but glance at the cameras now and then, reassuring herself that all was well. Friends and family reached out to check on her, and though she appreciated the support, she found herself craving solitude more than ever. She had her boundaries back, a wall of security between her and the world. Weeks later, as she settled onto her couch with a cup of tea, she scrolled through her phone, checking her notifications and reading more supportive comments. One follower had written, "You're stronger than this. You'll rise above." Another, "We've got your back, Savannah. Don't let anyone take away your peace." She realized then that her sense of safety wasn't just about physical barriers. It was about feeling supported and empowered too. People would always judge, some would pry, and a few might even cross the line. But she knew now she could face it all, because she wasn't alone. The experience had changed her, but it hadn't broken her. Her home might have been vandalized, but her spirit remained unscathed. Savannah Chrisley's voice shook as she told her followers about the violation she felt after discovering her home had been vandalized. She'd gone through so much over the last few years, standing by her family amid the legal troubles, defending her father, Todd Chrisley, when few others did, and fighting for her own sense of normalcy in a world that felt anything but. But as she stared at the graffiti-streaked walls of her entryway, her heart sank. The place she'd come to as a sanctuary, a space that was entirely hers, felt irreparably tainted. It happened on a quiet evening. She'd just returned from a late-night shoot and noticed something odd in the moonlight. The gate to her front yard was ajar, and she could have sworn she'd locked it that morning. Brushing it off as forgetfulness, she pushed through the door, only to be greeted by the disheartening sight. The hallway wall was smeared with crude phrases in red spray paint, each one feeling like a jab, and not a single surface was spared. Her furniture had been overturned, and personal items, her favorite photo frames, her mother's earrings she'd borrowed, lay shattered on the floor. Savannah's initial reaction was shock, but then came the anger, a surge of rage she couldn't contain. Who could do this? She'd experienced her fair share of trolls online, people hiding behind anonymous accounts who made her life hell with hateful comments and hurtful rumors. But this was different. This was real, tangible, and visceral.